Good evening. Board workshop of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Wednesday, November 12th, 2025, beginning at 5:30 p.m. in the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom, Administration Building of the McAllen Independent School District, 2000 North 23rd Street, McAllen, Texas 78501. I also would like to say that we have 3 trustees who are very involved in this process. However, they have some prior commitments and they had to cancel last minute, but they should be coming a little bit later on. So at this meeting, there may be discussion by the board on the items and subjects listed as follows. Item 1, call the meeting to order. I have done so at 5:32 p.m. Item 2, public comments. We have 1. We will play a short video, and then you'll have 2 minutes. I'll call your name up. You'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Here are the public comment procedures. Number 1, individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up at McAllenisd.org at least 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Number 2, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 2 minutes per meeting. Number 3, the board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. Thank you.
Información a personas para comentarios públicos. Número 1. Las personas que deseen participar durante la parte de la reunión designada por comentarios públicos deberán registrarse en McAllenisd.org al menos 1 hora antes del inicio de la reunión programada. Número 2. Los comentarios de un individuo a la Junta no excederán de 2 minutos por reunión. Y por último, número 3. La Junta no tolerará la perturbación de la reunión por parte de los miembros del público asistente. Gracias.
Okay, Ms. Lita Leo, you can come up to the front. You have 2 minutes.
Here.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. It's a little pressure there. My name is Lita Leo. I am the Hidalgo County Treasurer, and I'm just going to public entities and introducing myself because I know this is a low-key position, and I've realized not everybody knows that there is a county treasurer or what the county treasurer does. So I just want to talk a little bit about some good things that have been happening. One thing, as you all know, and McAllen is just growing just as rapidly. Hidalgo County is one of the top counties, so demand is growing as our employees have grown as well. We have 3,500 people on our payroll right now, so that is every other Friday I handle that payroll on time. Luckily, we've had a good success rate there. One thing that I've been proud of through these last 4 years, I've been in office 6 years now, is as the Chief Financial Investment Officer, I have been able to grow the revenue and our investment portfolio. At this moment, our investment portfolio is well over $500 million. But we're probably at about 525 million. Yes, 525 million and counting. Our interest earnings since 2019 have been a total of $54 million. $54 million used for projects in Hidalgo County, infrastructure, payroll, et cetera, et cetera. I do not decide where the money goes. I just collect. I just invest it. And speaking of investments at this time, it's holiday season, and I'm making a lot of people happy, but one thing that you might not like is you'll be paying the property taxes. Well, that comes to us, and we do invest. That's larger revenue for us that we do invest and continue to grow our investment portfolio. So, barely made it. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great evening.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes public comments. Item 3, discussion of possible bond election items. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Madam Secretary, Dr. Kittleman, and Board of Trustees, we have this board workshop to talk about some of our facilities. We've been doing a lot of work in the prior months. We have also had a couple of town hall meetings. We've also have a facilities forecast advisory committee that we have been meeting with a couple of times as well to talk about the state of our facilities in McAllen ISD. And so today we are bringing a lot of those reports that we have been putting together for several months, and we have also getting input from the community by surveys. And this is going to be the first of several meetings that we're going to have with the full board. And thank you, Trustee Kittleman, for making sure that all our board is very involved in this process, and they have been very involved. They've attended our meetings in the past, and so we're still working with our facilities reports and trying to put a comprehensive report together and eventually identify the higher priority needs of our district, and hopefully that we can eventually decide if we're going to call on a bond. We have until February the 13th to do that, so we have still a couple of months to work through this process. For today's meeting, we are going to talk about several topics. The first one that we're going to talk about is the list of propositions, items for a bond. And Ms. Lorena Garcia would go over those 7 propositions. The way that it is set up now is that if we're going to be identifying some projects or some repairs or some new construction, there are 7 propositions that we may need to label those projects by the propositions, because that's the way that it's going to show on the ballot. And so we will review those 7 proposition possibilities that we will need to have on the ballot, but that depends on the type of a project that we are going to decide on. And so once you see the propositions, you will see where some of these categories may fit in. And so that's important to start off this discussion, because a lot of these projects or needs that we have may fall under some of those propositions, and that's the way it's going to be on the ballot. Okay? So we'll talk about those 7 propositions. The other part that we have, we're going to talk about the financial bond option. And we have Mr. Bobby Flores from Estrada and Hinojosa. They are our financial advisors, and he's going to present the possibility of a bond by maintaining the same tax rate. So that's going to be something that he will talk to us about, and that option that we have of maintaining the same tax rate. As you all know, back in September, about 2 months ago, we lowered the tax rate from 99 cents to 93 cents, which is 6 cents less. The state compressed only 3 pennies, but as a board, we added an additional 3 cents. So in total, we reduced the tax rate from 99 cents to 93 cents. And we want to capitalize now on those 93 cents and be able to go out for a bond without raising the tax rate and being able to qualify for a bond. And he will talk to us about the amount that we qualified for by maintaining the same tax rate. So that's important, and he's here to talk to us about that. Then we have 2 items that kind of go together: the review of the priority 1 projects by needs by campus, and also we have a summary of identified project needs. Those 2 go together. MGT, who is our consultants and work with the Facilities Forecast Committee, work with the administration, work with the Board of Trustees and community members. They did a walkthrough of every campus to identify the needs of each campus along with us. And so we are going to cover those priority 1. Those are the top priorities of each campus. And we want to go over a summary of those priorities, because it's time to talk about what are those priorities and how we're going to decide as a board, as with the Facilities Forecast Advisory Committee and everyone, how are we going to identify those top priorities so that we can put them together for the bond. And so we will talk about those priority needs as MGT identified along with us when we did those walkthroughs. But also Mr. Ruben Trevino has already identified a lot of those needs that are part of the MGT study. They go together. I mean, what he has identified and what MGT identified, it's identical as to what we need. And we'll talk about those high priority needs of our district. Now, and then after that, we have Pfluger Architects, who they're also here. They're the pre-bond architects. They're going to talk to us also about some of the projects. They're going to talk to us about the timeline and also the next steps that we are going to take as we move forward until February the 13th, and to call on a bond if that's the case. So that will be the ones presenting at the end. a lot of work has been done up until now, and now it's time to put it out and start talking about that work, the projects, the needs that we have, and be able to come up with a list, and of course, the input of the Board of Trustees, the input of our community members. It's very important to us. Last night at our regular meeting, we had some public comments that were made about fine arts, and we have fine arts, and fine arts has been identified not only at the middle school, but also at the high schools, and so we are going to talk about those needs because it's time to put everything on the table. But just to let everyone know, we're looking at everything. We're not leaving any programs behind or unattended. Everything is being looked at. Everything is being considered. And at the end of the day, we're going to figure out what are the priority needs for the district, and that would qualify us to cover with a bond that we qualify for, the amount, without raising taxes. At least that's the direction that seems like we're going to be going with. And this is what it's all about, to put everything on the table and start talking about the projects and the amounts that we qualify. So I'm going to go ahead and this is just a summary of everything that we've been doing. And I want everyone to know that everyone's input is important, in this process, because we're going to need everyone's help and assistance and the community support. That we want to make our facilities better through everyone's input, and everyone's voice, matters to us and to the board. And so we are here to listen and to start talking about our needs and make us a better district and have better facilities for our kids, because that's what at the end of the day, that's what we want, better facilities for our kids. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Lorena Garcia. She'll cover the first item, which is a list of propositions that are part of a bond and that may be considered depending on the projects that we decide on. So Ms. Garcia, can you talk about that?
Yes, good evening, and thank you, Dr. Gutierrez. We are going to review the list of proposition items for bond, and it's important to note this because when school districts go up for a bond, they have to categorize the projects in these 7 categories. They may use 1 or 2, maybe 3 categories. It's not necessary that the projects fall into all 7. But if projects fall within that category, the proposition has to be listed separate on the ballot. And I'm going to go over those 7. I also would like to inform you all that if you have any questions on this and the ballot, what falls within the ballot as far as projects, we have with us tonight Mr. Matt Lee from Norton, Rose, and Fulbright. He is available on Teams. He's listening in, so if you have any questions on this, he can answer our questions as well. Proposition number 1 is for the construction of school buildings. Also, you could purchase buses and sites for school buildings. The majority of the projects would fall under this category. Number 2 is for a stadium. Number 3 is for an auditorium. So that would be listed separately. Number 4 is for any other recreation facility other than a gymnasium, a playground, or play area. And number 5 is for a performing arts facility. Number 6 is for housing for teachers. And then number 7 would be for technology equipment.
Ms. Garcia, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So in the presentation we'll see later, there's, I guess, equipment or server room upgrades. Does that have to be separate, like at number 7, or can we include it as part of number 1?
I'm going to have to turn that question over to Mr. Lee, if he could please assist us. The question is if there's some upgrades to our server rooms, would that be considered number 7, update of technology equipment?
Hey, good evening. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Again, for the record, Matt Lee with the law firm of Norton Rose Fulbright. We serve as the district's bond counsel. So the last proposition for technology, typically we're looking at one-to-one devices. So student iPads, laptops, computers for the teachers. If you've got a mobile cart that has like a television television on it that's moving around from room to room. Those types of things are captured in the technology bucket. If it's safety or security or technology that's integral to the functionality of a campus or the district, which servers would be, those are typically captured in the general proposition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And sometimes, if some of these projects fall into different categories, the community and everyone would say like Proposition A, the amount, and Proposition B, the amount, because it won't be identified as Proposition 1 or Proposition 2 or 3. From what I've seen on the ballot, correct me if I'm wrong, it will say Proposition A, the total amount, and Proposition B, if it's something else, one of those, like say, for example, an auditorium, that would be a different proposition all by itself, where the voters will vote only for that specific proposition one at a time. So some propositions may be voter approved, and some may not be voter approved, or all of them may be voter approved. So that's the flexibility of these propositions, that the voters will be able to vote on each one individually. And there's a possibility that some pass and some don't, or they all can pass. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct. And I will say, you know, this law change took effect September 1 of 2019. So it's been, 6 years, about 12 election cycles that we've had this separate proposition requirement. Even before the law change, districts have always had the flexibility to, let's say you had a single general proposition that you wanted to do, a new high school, a new middle school, a new elementary school. Under the statute, you could combine all that into one general proposition. However, the district has always had the discretion to break those out into separate propositions. So if the district felt maybe there was community sensitivity towards a specific project, like they didn't want a new high school. We've seen that in some areas that have a single high school, and they don't want to break up their football teams. So they've separately put a new high school as a separate standalone proposition. You can certainly do that here. So at the end of the day, when we review all the projects, let's say we have a bunch of general project items, the board always has the discretion to break up those general propositions into separate. So you could have A for most of your renovation type items, and you could have a proposition B that is also general, but it would be for a specific project that the board decides to put on a separate proposition for the voters.
Okay, next section is the financial options, and I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Bobby Villarreal. He is with Estrada Hinojosa, and he will go over this section for us.
Good evening, board. Again, Bobby Villarreal with the Estrada Hinojosa, your financial advisor. As you have up there, and I think Nicole was passing it out there, this should be on page 2 of the document there. So again, the tax rate history of the district, just to summarize, you've gone from $1.15 in 2017 down to 93. So you've had about 23 pennies of tax rate reduction. So again, if you go to page 4, which is the option of $335 million, we anticipate that would not require any tax rate increase. And I say tax rate increase. Keyword is the rate. You don't control, the school board does not control taxable values that the appraisal district does. So that's always just there. But again, we would anticipate, should you go out to the voters in May, that we would have a sale in 2026 of $100 million, followed by 120 the following year. And we would do this in tranches. One is to spread out the payments, but also it's very difficult to expend that amount of money that quickly. So as your values will more than likely go up, we're very conservative in our projections, so we have very, very nominal growth in our projections. So if you grow greater than we think, it could be that we accelerate some of these borrowings, but in the end, what the goal is overall is to maintain the overall tax rate. The other thing, I'm not sure is there another slide? No? Okay, well, just so you know, if you recall, in the last, week, we voted for the homestead exemption to go from 100,000 to 140. So the average taxpayer here is probably saving about $470 on their tax bill this coming year. So overall, you're having not just the 6 pennies, y'all drop the tax rate, but I believe, yeah, the average taxpayer in McAllen ISD had a market value of about 247,000. And so now the homestead exemption is about 140, so the taxable value after the homestead is about 107. So that's about a $470 tax savings to the average homeowner here. Again, some people are higher, some people are lower. Now I remind you too that seniors are frozen, so whatever they're paying in the past, with this new bond, they pay nothing more. And again, if you're a senior, your homestead exemption is greater than 140, I believe it goes to about 200. So those are the highlights of everything, but we anticipate that at $335 million, that with what you have right now is about the amount you can go without a tax rate increase. I don't know if there's any questions.
Yeah, quick question, Bobby. Do you know for how many consecutive legislative cycles there's been a proposition for the voters of the state of Texas to increase the homestead exemption?
I think we've done 2 so far.
Yeah, because it went from 60 to 40?
It used to be like
Or 40?
40,
It was 40.
then it went to 100, now we
100,
went to
now
140.
Two.
Yeah.
He works the ledge, he probably knows better
Yeah.
than us.
I'm fairly certain it's 2, but I
Yeah.
wanted folks to know that. It's hard to predict the future, right? But
Yeah.
this seems to be the trend line in the state. Second question, and this might be a Ms. Garcia question. For how many consecutive legislative cycles has the state compressed the maximum tax rate, thereby creating additional investments at state funding versus local funding?
I think it's at least 2, maybe 3.
It's been a while. I don't know the exact number of legislative sessions.
Yeah,
but-
if I recall, House Bill 2 in
Two?
2019 was a
2019, yeah.
major tax compression that equalized the wealth investment from the state into the locals. And in each consecutive session since then, there's been an additional compression. And so that is relevant in as much as that increases the state share of our total entitlement funding, thereby reducing the local tax burden. So if we are to predict the future again, hard to know for certain, but if the trend line holds, that's an additional way in which savings might benefit taxpayers in the city of McAllen.
Yeah, and right now, we've only calculated what we know is gonna happen.
Right.
And so, if there's more coming to the betterment of the district.
Yeah, it allows us to compress
Correct.
more locally,
Yeah.
right? Thank you.
So there's a possibility that if there's future compressions, that even if the bond was to pass, it would be even that taxes could continue to be lowered if the state compresses the tax rate again.
Correct. Yes, sir.
And we will be able to continue with the bond, perhaps at a lower tax rate than what it is even now.
That's right.
No questions.
That's all I got.
So in plain terms, how would you explain this to like my neighbor that doesn't really understand taxes, the concept of defeasance
Well,
generate bond capacity without increasing the tax rate?
so historically, y'all were on a path to pay off all your debts in about, I want to say 7 or 8 years from now, if I'm not correct. Well, but we accelerated the payments as the compressions came. We utilized some of those dollars to pay off the debt early.
Yep.
And that helped create the capacity. So essentially, sort of like at my house, my wife gets the new car. When we pay off that new car,
Right.
I get the old one,
Yeah.
and then she gets the new one. Same payment.
Yeah. Another way might be to say, if I pay off a 30-year mortgage in 15 years
Yeah.
and then reallocate the money I had been using on a monthly basis in my mortgage to put into a new addition on my house.
Correct. Fix
I'm
the
still
roof.
paying the same, but
Yes,
I get
sir.
more for my dollars.
Yes, sir.
I do want to add that in the ballot, because it's by state law, it's going to say a tax increase. And so we're going to have to really talk to the community as we go out there and present and talk to them. If we go out, for the bond and we go out and present to the community, is that to show that sample ballot that is going to say a tax increase, but it is not a tax increase, but under law, they has to say that as they're voting for the propositions. But but it's just that it's language that is required to have there, but that in our case is not going to be a tax increase. So that's going to be the explanation that we're going to have to do everywhere we go, that by law it's required to have a tax increase, even though it's not a tax increase, because they're going to read that when they see the ballot. But it's because it's required to have that language there. And we're just going to have to do our homework and be very intentional to explain that to groups and everyone we talk to, that is not a tax increase, but it still has to, it's going to say that on the ballot and they're going to see it. But it's to ignore that, and because it's going to be at the same tax rate for us.
And I think one thing too, just as a matter of whether it's a city or a school or a county, it's a shared responsibility to run this government, to educate the kids of the community. I mean, and so you're about to pay off the bonds. So a lot of people in the past helped build these facilities to educate these kids. The school never dies. The city never dies. We all pass away at some point. Sorry, but the shared responsibility to maintain what you have has to fall to everybody, and that's why this is how things work to operate a government. So that's kind of what I would leave it as well. Is that we all have a shared responsibility.
I like that.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.
The next section is to discuss the projects that are priority one identified by MGT by campus. And the way this report is structured, first of all, it has a category of, for example, health and safety, modernization, site and infrastructure, technology readiness, and then it has a project area. And if you want more details of the project, then you would look at the recommended action. Some of these projects you're going to see repeated throughout the campuses, like, for example, access controls, LED lighting. That's something that would be a district-wide project. But I'm going to do my best to summarize by campus, because there's one report for each campus. First is McAllen High School with ADA compliance upgrades, electrical system upgrades, emergency exit door hardware replacement, improving the secure vestibule, which is the entrance, the front entrance, portable building repairs and modernization, access control upgrades and camera system updates, modernization of classrooms, elevator improvements, HVAC upgrades, LED lighting conversion, HVAC controls, and IT room improvement. For Memorial High School, we also have electrical system upgrades, also looking at the front entrance, as well as access controls and improving the camera system, interior modernization, LED lighting, HVAC controls, HVAC updates, and roof replacements.
Ms. Garcia, 1 minute.
Yes.
Well, question on Mac High. You know, I see we have portable building repairs. What's currently in the portables at Mac High? And why are we seeking to repair instead of to replace or build a facility?
Well, portable, some of the things that are in portable buildings, I believe, is some of the fine arts is in portable buildings.
Ms. Friedland, maybe you can help us understand on the portables. What do we have? What programs or classes do we have in those portables? If you can come up to the.
We currently have our LOT classes, which is our foreign language classes, are out there. We have some CT classes in the back as well. We have mariachi, we have steppers, we have dressing rooms for students, which don't contain, they don't have bathrooms in there as well. We have, yes, so we have tennis, we have fine arts. We have just a mixture of a lot of different classes out in the portables.
So it's mainly fine arts and athletics programs that are out in portables.
We have academic instruction as well, foreign language, and we do have some CTE courses, and I believe we have a history course out there as well.
How many portables do you have?
We have 10.
10. And then I unfortunately I wasn't able to make the tour of Mac High, but I have heard that the locker rooms are less than desirable. Is that included in here, Ms. Garcia, as part of level 1 priority?
Well, as far as the detail items, it's not included, but it is included in the remodel in the general category. And Mr. Ruben Trevino is going to talk about that.
Are you talking about the locker rooms, like in the athletic, the
At
athletic
I was talking specifically at McAllen, but I guess the comment that it generally applies at, Travis, Early Achieve, I've heard Memorials
Yeah.
as well. At Morris, I know Ms. Bechtel has mentioned.
Yeah, we've identified those areas as part of the general remodeling. So, but we are aware of that, and we're gonna talk about it in our list that we also have.
Gotcha.
That we also
Okay.
included.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Friedman.
I'm wondering, what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer that Ms. Garcia just kind of briefly go through all the slides and we make notes on questions? Or do you prefer that after each slide we ask for questions? What's better?
I'd rather go slide by slide.
Me too,
You can
otherwise,
ask questions on, okay, cool.
there's a lot of campuses.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions on Memorial?
I guess my question, following up on trustee Haddad's, is if we could know how many portables per campus.
Okay, we'll take note of that.
We can provide a report on
Right,
that.
'cause I think that was mentioned in the article with MGT. Oh, sorry. I think that was mentioned in the article with MGT about the number or the square footage of proposed new portables or remodel for portables, and so I think that number would be good for us to evaluate whether we need to repurpose space within the main facilities or additions versus keeping kids in portables again.
Memorial, for example, has 5.
Thank you.
I do have the full MGT report, and there may be some things I can quickly look
Okay.
up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Building inventory is one section that they provided.
Thank you.
May I ask Ms. Friedland, maybe a more abstract, open-ended question? Based off of what you're hearing from the community, I mean, what are some big ideas that community, staff, students would like to see? I mean, I see things
I mean,
like
I hear a lot
modernization.
of things, right? 'Cause,
Right.
but definitely for our fine arts, they'd need a better facility for sure. I mean, we have students participating at high levels, right? And they're still succeeding, which is great. But, they deserve the facilities, better facilities for sure. Definitely, bringing the kids in the building, instead of being outside in the portables. It's just safer for our students. Just modernization. I think the general feel is, Mac High, it's been around a long time, so it's, I hear, some people are like, oh, get rid of the school, but most people want to keep the school because it's a great school, it has good bones, it does need to be updated, that's for sure. And again, the portables, the fine arts, and the locker rooms, whoever brought that up as well.
Okay, thank you. So, and then my other question, when I see the word modernization, does that mean the bullet to the right there, like, here's how we're gonna modernize it, replace worn VCT, carpet, ceiling tiles? Is that what that means?
Yes, that's a basic description of it. There could be more to that. And this is for both the instructional and the support areas, meaning the CTE, the fine arts, the athletics, all of those other areas.
Okay. And do you mind just briefly providing some background on how you gathered this information?
This information was gathered by walkthroughs and surveys. We had walkthroughs at each and every campus by MGT, the principal, and members of the administration. And we also had walkthroughs by Half Engineering, which looked at the HVAC, the electrical, the plumbing, the types of the roof systems and so forth. And then our facilities maintenance department, Mr. Ruben Trevino provided schedules, replacement schedules of maintenance projects and history of all the updates, because we already have the software system that MGT uses to track all of these things. He was able to provide a history of that. We also did some walkthroughs with the FFAC, and they provided feedback through a survey mechanism with input to MGT, and they utilized that information to create this report.
Okay. And one question also, Ruben, if you don't mind, Mr. Trevino. Are there any items included in here that also we could potentially include in just our yearly budget? I mean, do we have some areas that we could, like some of these I know are, roofs are incredibly expensive, but don't
For
we?
example, like the doors, the panic bars and things
Yeah,
like that.
some things we
that's
have on
some-
a yearly.
There are
maintenance.
some that we do cover on our year-to-year maintenance budget. However, like Dr. Gutierrez said, if the bond does pass and we get to that phase, in the past, the district has 1P projects or one-time projects, which we allocate those funds for special construction projects, not your routine maintenance. Those would be taken care of by the bond. Okay, so that the regular maintenance budget still continues, but any one-time projects or 1P projects that we call would be now funded through bond projects.
Okay. Yeah, I guess personally I was just thinking as much of those maintenance projects that we could shift into elsewhere, because I'm worried that community is just gonna see a lot of just, you know, a Band-Aid here and there, let's do this HVAC, let's do this paint, and I'm not sure that that's gonna sell. So, yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I think it's important that if we can buy some of this equipment, like doors and stops and whatever, with the bond, it's important that we have the money in our maintenance budget to maintain the new improvements that we do, because that's where districts get in trouble. If they defer maintenance for too long, that's like all McAllen ISD, we're in this situation. And the longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. So it's important that if we can buy whatever needs to be purchased and then still have our budget to maintain it annually.
Right, yeah.
Ruben, how did you, I guess, to frame this conversation, I apologize, I know we only made it to like 2 campuses. How did y'all select first priority level projects?
The first priority level projects that MGT went ahead and jotted down, are a lot of them are focused on safety, the safety components, and based on the replacement schedules that we provided them, meaning that, for example, fire alarm replacements. Okay, fire alarm replacements fall under the safety component, and we've got fire alarm replacements that are going to be coming up, not quite now, but they will be coming up in 3 years from now. We're already caught up with that replacement schedule on that. We've got replacement schedules for roofs, and you'll see in my presentation in the next couple slides where I'll talk about those roofs that come up on the replacement schedule that we keep. The same thing for chillers and the same thing for HVAC upgrades.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ruben.
Yeah, Ruben, you might as well sit there because we're going to call you a lot.
Don't go too far.
For Nikki Rowe, we also have improvement of the front entrance, access controls, and upgrade the camera system, LED lighting conversions, and HVAC controls. They do have 3 portable buildings that are used for athletic purposes.
Can I ask about the LED lighting for Row? When we did tour it, a point was made that the lighting in the parking lots is insufficient. Does this include investments to light up the parking lots? And over there in the back by the baseball fields and the track?
The LED lighting that is included or that will be included is campus-wide and district-wide.
But, sorry,
Both.
this is addition of new lighting?
In addition of new lighting, yes.
Yeah.
They will have to do an assessment, and where we have not enough candle power for safety reasons, parking lot areas, athletic fields as well, everything will go down to LED lighting. That is the way to go now, and the way to achieve savings in the future and savings on the maintenance side with LED lighting having a longevity of warranty behind the bulbs.
Okay.
And LED would be, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, the LED lighting would be in all the campuses. It's just to improve the energy efficiency, that would be a tremendous savings in our utility bills by having LED lights throughout the whole district. And just improves the visibility inside the classrooms and in the hallways, and it enhances learning, by the way, too. It's better for our kids, too. So LED, you're going to see it in all the reports across the district.
And that would be for auditoriums as well.
The entire,
Every lighting we have is going to now be LED.
correct, yes.
And for some campuses that we see where their projects are a little less than other campuses, is that because they're newer campuses or just based off of the?
It's based off of the needs. Just because a campus is newer doesn't mean it's gonna have less improvements. Because you may have an older campus that because of the replacement schedule, the roof might have been replaced.
Okay.
So, you don't have to worry about that. But then the newer campus is just about coming up on the replacement. So then you have, critical projects like that that are needed.
Okay, got it.
So for instruction and guidance, we do have 4 portables, and they are recommending a portable replacement or renovation program, ADA door hardware replacement, LED lighting, HVAC controls, roof replacement at the main and the annex buildings, and then an audio alert system for the portables because they rely on them.
The ING Center, the MTG rated them pretty low.
Yes, because
Is-
of the portables.
Yeah.
Because of the portable.
Primarily because of the portables.
Okay.
The educational adequacy component
Right.
that affected them.
Okay.
Most of their classes are there. Lamar Academy has emergency exit door hardware replacement, security and controlled entrances, LED lighting conversion, electrical system upgrade, and HVAC controls.
No portables for them?
Yes, portables, let me see.
I know they have.
Lamar, no portables for the academy, although there are some that are not being used for their purposes.
We have the 18 to 26 in the portables.
Yes, under renovation currently. They're not being used for classrooms.
Yeah, there are portables in the back, but none of them are so far being utilized. We have plans for the 18 to 26 in the event that we do get the population to enroll them, but other than that, the school is not, they're using the main building.
Choose, I guess, on the north side back where the portables are. I'm not seeing something like that reflected on this current priority plan. Is that here and I'm just not seeing it, or just not yet?
We currently have 15 to 16 paving projects, upgrades, additional expansions, and that would take care of any drainage issues with that scope of work.
Got it.
That's
So
currently
even though
ongoing
it's
now?
not reflected here on the campus, it's in a later on the
Yes.
district-wide improvements?
Yes, sir.
For FASA Middle School.
Oh, sorry, one other question.
Yes, sir.
On Brown, performance space for fine arts, if I remember correctly, there was a challenge where they're trying to use the cafeteria space, but there's not an elevated, or there used to be an elevated stage, no longer. Not seeing that here. Help me understand that.
That is correct. Brown used to have a sunken area. We've taken that out in the last cafeteria expansion that was done. Now the space lends itself for a stage area to be put in there.
Yep.
Currently, they're using that area, or they use the gym as well for different performances, depending on that. And we do have a portable stage in the district that is used, but that would be addressed as part of the remodeling phase for the middle schools and high schools.
It is listed in the master report.
Okay.
Under Performing Arts Space Addition, create a dedicated performing arts space with stage, acoustics, and appropriate storage. However, it's a priority too.
But if it's something that we can move up to as a priority from a 2 to a 1, that would be up to us.
we can certainly work with that.
And Ms. Loya, I think you would agree with, to make it a priority one? Okay. We'll make note of that.
Yeah, I recall the mariachi practice room was in a portable as well. And I think as we're trying to grow that to even greater heights, it seems to make sense to me.
I think that would make more sense, and from the phone calls that we've received, or I know I've received, I think a couple other trustees have received as well, is upgrading the day-to-day use for fine arts for our students versus a standalone facility like some of the other districts have done. We have a beautiful facility at Mac High that many of our schools use. And I think it's just the day-to-day concerns of where our kids are practicing and learning, because how you practice is how you play. And so I think that's the most important for and concerns as well. I think there was concerns last night brought up about unhealthy or unsafe spaces. And so hopefully we can decide to move and get at least all of our middle schools and high schools facilities at a P1 or a priority one for this.
For the fine arts area? Okay.
Foster Middle School has a fire alarm replacement, access control and upgrade camera system, chiller replacement, LED lighting, HVAC controls, and then the play court area rehabilitation. They do not have any portables. They do have one in the back that's used for a weight room,
Just a quick
but not a
question.
classroom.
How much are chiller replacements, Ruben?
Chiller replacements will vary depending on the size of the chiller, of course. We have chillers that range from 60 tons to 240, 350 tons apiece. They can be from buying the equipment ourselves, will range from 100,000 to 650,000 for one unit, depending, like I said, on the size. That's just the equipment itself. That does not entail engineering if it is required, and then all the components needed for a full replacement.
Okay. Yeah, chillers can also be part of the, I mean, I hear Trustee De La Garza's point as well, and I agree with that. I think I'm a little concerned. I mean, some campuses, 100K can just do so much for certain classrooms and et cetera. And when we hear about their needs and how we can respond to them, that is what is going to help pass this bond. So certain things like the chiller replacement, I wonder if that can just be a regular annual maintenance, right? Like just scheduled instead of included in, that's just my personal opinion.
Not a maintenance budget. It wouldn't be covered under the maintenance.
It's not covered in
budget.
the maintenance.
It would be out of fund balance. That's traditionally how we have
for
funded
chillers.
that. Or previously, the maintenance tax notes, we utilized that. ESSER funding was also tagged for some of those improvements. So
Okay,
it's
got
not
it.
something that we could carry with the maintenance budget.
Okay,
But
that's a
certainly
good
like
clarification.
door repairs,
Right.
that we can handle.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I have a follow-up question on this. I might get the number wrong, but my recollection was between ESSER and ARPA funding, which was government, federal government COVID relief funds, the district had approximately 190 million. Is that in the ballpark? Some of which was allowable to use for capital improvements, especially HVAC, given what we knew about what schools needed at the time, ventilation, et cetera. What was our total spend in those federal funds for HVAC projects?
HVAC,
You-
primarily, I believe we use the maintenance tax
Yes,
note.
there was a combination of both, maintenance tax note and HVAC. I don't have that total with
Yeah.
me now, but we can certainly provide it. But some of the bigger HVAC projects that we did fund with the ESSER funding was the Phase 2 to the McKay chiller plant, completely new chiller upgrades and chiller plant to Rowe High School, completely new HVAC equipment over at Lamar.
Yeah.
We also redid Cheeve Early College as well. So we had quite a bit of work done with a lot of the ESSER/maintenance tax note.
Got it.
We also replaced, I want to say, in the neighborhood, probably, I have the replacement schedule here with me, but I want to say out of ESSER funding, we probably replaced probably around 20 to 25 chillers, and then another 15 to 20 with maintenance tax note.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we did a very significant investment in the past 5 years, and where I'm seeing them come up again, it's just,
They're due
we didn't
for
do them
replacement.
all,
Yeah.
or?
They're due for replacement, the
Due for
ones that you're seeing
replacement.
coming up, yes.
Okay.
I think there was also probably a lot of promises made by prior boards and administration when the ESSER monies were around, and, you know, we asked for reports on how and where it was used, but this is where we know now, things that were needed back then are still needed now, and when we have, that list just keeps growing, you know. So I think that definitely everything here, it's either time for, or it's the new renewal of some of these systems.
Moving on to Travis, they do not have any portables. The projects listed are improved performing arts program spaces, ADA door hardware replacement, electrical system upgrades, repair deteriorating overhangs, access controls, and upgrade camera systems, HVAC improvements, LED lighting, and HVAC controls.
I'll just make one comment. I know locker rooms are going to be covered, so I just want to make sure that definitely need of investment at Travis. But the gym floors, I believe Travis has one section where there's just so much water damage, and the bleachers don't work in part of the main gym.
Coach McClenny, can you add on to that?
I know there was water damage and there was buckling of the flooring. And I know that I think Facilities Maintenance Operations is working on that to get that fixed. And it's also I believe it's an AC leak. So they're trying to fix that. And so the bleachers are functional, but you can't pull the bleachers over buckled flooring.
Gotcha.
But some of those is like Dr. Kittleman is saying that we could carry it on with our own budget. So those are some repairs that we can do ourselves.
I'm glad to see the overhangs are included in here, because when you look at it, some of it's crumbling concrete, and it looks like the building is in complete disrepair, but it's just those overhangs that need to be fixed or chopped off, or I'm not sure what we do with them.
That was outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For De Leon Middle School, we do have one portable that's being used as a weight room. Their projects entail improving the front entrance, the security vestibule, access controls, upgrade camera system, electrical system upgrades, HVAC improvements, LED lighting, HVAC controls, and parking lot and driveway rehabilitation.
There is a lot of traffic at De Leon on Friday nights, Saturday, Sunday, with the use of the fields there. Is there any sort of agreement with the entities that use those facilities regarding the use of our parking lots or anything of that nature?
Yes, there is a memorandum of understanding. I want to say it's probably way before my time, 15, 20 years ago, where the city joined forces with the school district at the time, and they recreated those fields, those field areas that are out there along with the stadium that's on the west side. I want to say that the city came in and reconstructed the parking lots and does the upkeep of those parking areas, which is a parking area to the east, right in front of 29th.
Yep.
And the main parking area to the south, which is adjacent to the
Front
most
entrance.
used fields.
Yeah.
The agreement in place is that we get to use the fields or the school district on an as-needed basis. We do communicate with them at times when a field or two are needed. Also, we have full use of the stadium that is out there. They do provide the maintenance on the stadium for scoreboard repairs or any lighting or anything of that sort. And they do provide staff to do cleanups after use of the fields when it's a Parks and Rec activity that they do. So we do have administration there at the campus that keeps us on tabs as far as when something's needed, or we do call on the department with the city, and they will send staff out to do whatever is needed at De Leon.
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
And De Leon is one of those campuses that the whole entrance needs to be reconfigured. It's one of those high priorities that needs a better look of what the front of a school should look like. And so this is one of the top priorities there as far as giving this school a better facade-looking front entrance of the school, because it doesn't have one.
Yeah.
It has a side door like Memorial, and Memorial is something that we also need to work on.
And now we have the elementaries, starting with Rayburn, the electrical system upgrades, access controls upgrade, camera systems, replace one chiller, LED lighting, HVAC controls, and they do not have any portable buildings.
Rayburn's population, I'm thinking specifically of special education, are their needs also being met in some of this with regards to ADA, outdoor areas? I don't know if anyone can speak to that.
We do have a section that we set aside for several of the campuses that will include some of the playscapes that are all inclusive.
Okay, great.
We currently have one just north of Rayburn, which is Sanchez Elementary, that's all inclusive already. And we want to spread some more of those throughout the district.
Right.
So
yeah.
that there's,
Because things
accessibility.
like that, if we can put those front-facing, then it's going to really connect with a lot more people, a lot more families are going to be a lot more involved with this.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Bettis, we have fire alarm replacement, access controls, upgrade camera systems, enclosed pavilion to create a new gym, HVAC controls, HVAC renewal, mechanical renewal, and parking walkways and play courts.
There, what you're gonna see is a new gymnasium, and there's a couple of elementaries that are, they don't have one, so we are including gymnasiums for some elementary schools, like Perez, that is almost a new school, but it doesn't have an enclosed gym, and so we're looking at that. And there's a couple of others that would come in the report that need a gymnasium from the elementary schools.
No, a comment was made to me that in the past, when we've enclosed one of those pavilions, we've had a lot of trouble with, like condensation, that sort of thing. Ruben, can you speak to that?
Which pavilion?
It was made a general comment. I was touring one of the elementaries, and a comment was made to me saying, well, we want to enclose our pavilion, but we've heard that when they've enclosed the previous pavilions, there's always trouble with the condensation,
Yes,
that sort of thing.
I want to say maybe 15, 20 years ago, when they enclosed some of those pavilions, at the time, it was just your typical metal roof. That was an open pavilion. They came back with CMU block, and then they did your fiberglass panels on top for lighting, of course. And the insulation is not quite there, so that there's a heat transfer every time that the AC.
But we would, if we do that, we would do it right this time, right?
Correct, of
Okay.
course, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these projects, they're going to require architects, engineers to give us a design plan so that it's done right. I think maybe perhaps there wasn't, some of those steps were not taken. And we really need architectural firms and engineering firms. If the bond passes and a lot of these projects need to be done, we are going to have to rely on those professional services to make sure that it gets done right.
May I ask a question, Mr. Ball? Are we, as a district, can each campus post somewhere on their website, like an FAQ, neutral, however, also show, hey, these are our schematic designs, this is our plan for facilities needs?
Yes, but the most important thing here is that it has to be completely neutral. So you cannot, the campus cannot post it as so they're promoting it, they're for it, they're against it. You need to just say, these are the facts, here's what the Facilities Forecast Committee found, and this is how we're gonna call for the bond. As long as you keep it completely neutral, you're safe.
Okay.
But they cannot advocate for it.
Okay.
On the district website, probably broken down by campus, specific numbers, dollars, so that way,
Okay.
at the end of each project, we can go back and show we were on time, under budget, and
Okay.
completed the things that were within the proposed
Right.
proposition 1, 2, 3.
And does marketing control individual campuses' webpage, or is that someone else? It's just a random technical question. You probably don't know that.
Ms. De La Garza is correct. Every project will have a price tag on it. There will be some renderings wherever we will have new construction or new additions to a campus or even a gymnasium. And they will have square footages tied in with dollar amounts. And your last question was? Marketing. Dr. McGowan is here to explain his part of the presentation, and that is part of the pre-bond planning services that we have them doing.
Good.
So he'll touch on the marketing aspect of it.
I just want to make sure that we are completely easily accessible to people, that they can get on a website, that it's in easy terms. Here is a campus's problem, this is our response, this is how it impacts or benefits our community, our students. Very simple, accessible. That was something I heard from the past bond that a lot of community members felt like they didn't know. I know some people disagree with that.
It was everywhere.
Okay.
Okay.
It was a lot. It is a lot.
For Sam Houston, we do have one portable, and their projects are music and art program modernization, emergency exit and ADA door hardware replacement, access controls and upgrade camera systems, LED lighting, asphalt paving, HVAC controls, a new gymnasium, parking lot and driveway rehabilitation, and roof replacement.
Mr. Trevino, parking lot rehab is like potholes, resurfacing, restriping.
Parking
Sorry.
lot rehab is, we go in and take out the edges off your curbs, your concrete curbs, and then come back in with a full inch and a half HMAC asphalt, and retopped and completely reworked, and also striped at the end.
Restriped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the campuses that we know there's issues with parking or need additional spaces or need additional visitor areas in front of the campuses themselves, there will be a parking lot expansion tied to that project.
Okay, thank you.
At Gonzalez Elementary, we do have 8 portables, I believe. And they are recommending remove outdated portables, construct a new classroom wing, and then science and music program upgrades, ADA door hardware replacement, access controls and upgrade camera system, electrical system upgrades, LED lighting conversion, HVAC controls, and parking lot paving and drainage.
I just want to make note, Ms. Bechtold, earlier when we were talking about portables, you said 17 classrooms or 16 classrooms and 1 weight room, right? So when we hear 8 portables, that's double the amount of classrooms. So it's still 16 classrooms, which at 25 kids per classroom, that is a lot of kids in portables at one time. So I think that's important that we look at it in those sense, because if you hear 8 portables, but 16, 17 classrooms in portables, it's a lot. So.
Yeah, that's a good point, because each portable has 2 classrooms.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all of my 8th grade RLA both of my art teachers, my sixth grade social studies, my seventh grade social studies, my ELL teacher, it's impacting, yeah, my theater teacher.
Yep. Thank you.
No, I have to go to the main.
There's no bathrooms in there too, right?
There are, we have one set of bathrooms on the seventh grade hallway inside, on that side of the building.
Okay.
But it's for all those, that's hundreds of kids out there.
For,
Yeah.
for 700 children,
Thank you.
because the other 300 are missing.
For Jackson Elementary, we do not have any portables at that campus. We are listing projects of ADA door hardware replacement, access control, and upgrade camera systems, LED lighting, HVAC controls, replace aging air handlers and chillers, re-insulate chiller lines, roof replacement. Sanchez does not have any portables as well. The projects are fire alarm replacement, access control, upgrade camera systems, LED lighting conversion, HVAC controls, a new gymnasium, parking lot, and driveway rehabilitation. Wilson has one portable. Their projects entail access control and upgrade camera systems, LED lighting, electrical system upgrade, HVAC and chiller replacement, HVAC controls, parking lot and driveway rehabilitation, and roof replacement. Hendricks does not have any portables, and their projects are fire alarm replacement, access controls and upgrade camera systems, LED lighting conversion, HVAC controls, and a new gymnasium.
I had the opportunity to tour it with Ms. Lopez, so thank you for that. But she did mention two things that I think are important to mention here, is that the east side is not gated, so creates possible security concern there. And signs on Ware Road, those flashing signs because of the high traffic, on the east side and the west side, apparently it's hard for traffic to come in and out because traffic is blocked or the view is blocked. So she thinks those flashing signs might help. There's been several accidents there apparently. And then less of I guess, not a safety concern, but the music classroom soundproofing.
Ms. Garza, would you like to add anything to what Trustee Haddad mentioned?
Oh, thank you. I didn't see you back there.
Okay. It's a fairly new school.
It's in great shape.
Yeah.
Castañeda does not have any portables, and their projects are restroom capacity and accessibility improvements, access control and upgrade camera system, LED lighting, enclosed pavilion to create new gym, HVAC controls, parking lot and driveway rehab, and roof replacement. Moving on to Garza Elementary, they do not have portables as well. Their projects are access controls, upgrade camera systems, HVAC distribution improvements, LED lighting conversion, electrical system upgrades, gym roof and envelope repairs, HVAC controls, and roof replacement. At Thigpen Savala, we do have one portable building, and the projects are access controls, upgrade camera system, drainage improvements for stormwater, LED lighting, and HVAC controls.
Are you using that portable or are you not using?
Students are in the building.
They're all in the building, right? That's what I thought. So it's an empty portable not being utilized.
Correct. Right now, it's underused by Head Start. That's where they have some of their equipment, and teachers use it for storing just manipulatives and resources.
Okay.
More of a general question, as we're talking about potentially retiring the use of these portables. Do we put these up for sale, and if so, what's the projected win rate on those?
That is something that we've been looking at. It just depends on the campus itself. Some of those portables may just need to be sold where they're at. That's an example would be Milam or Gonzales, where we would have to relocate. It would probably cost us more money to relocate old portables and have to do all the new infrastructure for them versus leasing mobile portables for 1 year only, which is the time of construction. But it's just going to depend based on the campus and on the project itself.
Yeah. But for the ones that are currently going to,
The ones that are currently going, we may need some of them, we may
Yeah.
not, depending on where we're going to be doing the construction sites and
Got
what
it.
will be needed at that time.
yeah, okay.
Fields Elementary does not have any portables. They do have projects listed as fire alarm replacement, access controls, upgrade camera systems, HVAC ventilation upgrades, LED lighting conversion, HVAC controls, roof replacement, server room, and power upgrades.
If my memory serves, there was a flooding issue at Fields or water seepage. And to the life of me, I can't remember if it was into the gym or somewhere else in the building. Am I wrong? Am I right there?
The gym that you're referencing, sir, I believe is the Thigpen Zavala gym. When the school was built, that was an existing gym that was already there. But it is noted, and we will be making needed repairs and modifications to alleviate some of that flooding.
Thank you.
Milam Elementary has 5 portable buildings. Their projects are cafeteria and food service expansion, remove outdated portables, construct new classroom wing, ADA door hardware replacement, access controls and upgrade camera systems, HVAC modernization, LED lighting, electrical system upgrades, and HVAC controls.
Ms. Hernandez, you're from Milam Principal is here. Anything that
I know some other concerns that came up was the capacity of our cafeteria, having to have 6 lunch periods because we can't accommodate 2 grade levels at a time. And then our restrooms, we only have 4 staff restrooms for about almost 90 plus staff members. And parking, staff parking. Teachers are having to park on 12th Street side when it's raining, when it's cold, when it's hot, and cross the street and then try to find parking to get to work in the morning.
I always thought we should have bought that land right next to the bank for parking, and, yeah, that would be perfect, but I don't think they'll sell
I
it.
covered walkways. Well, if we were to do the expansion of the wing, that would help with the portables and not having those covered walkways when it's raining, so.
So you said cafeteria capacity, expansion of the parking lot, and perhaps some restrooms for staff?
We're constantly having to put work orders together.
What about the gym?
The gym has good bones, but again, with our capacity, it's having to, when we have recess going on because of the long periods of lunch.
Or weather.
With the inclement weather, our PE classes, that's our PE classroom.
Right.
So having to compromise with recess and PE, and then of course with our music department who's in portables. They have, our music teachers, they are out in portables as well. We have 2 music teachers. So that was also a concern with having to practice for performances and having to share the gym with recess and with PE classes as well.
Thank you.
And our library, it's
Oh,
tiny.
yes.
But again, we have good bones and our teachers are amazing. They do what they have to do to make our campus look beautiful.
It's a lot of kids, too.
Okay.
Thank you.
For Alvarez Elementary, they do not have any portables. They are looking at cafeteria and food service expansion, access controls, upgrade camera systems, security hardware upgrades. This would be for the cafeteria and gym. LED lighting conversion, HVAC controls, HVAC distribution improvements, and site lighting enhancements. For McAuliffe, we have ADA door hardware replacement, gym stage accessibility, access control upgrade camera systems, LED lighting conversion, electrical system upgrades, gym roof replacement, HVAC controls, main building roof replacement, parking walkways, and play courts.
Yeah, Principal is also here. Anything else that you see there?
Yes, one of the concerns that we had were some restrooms in our cafeteria, to expand our cafeteria area. We used to have a stage presence in our cafeteria, but now that's used for storage. So we need that space to be expanded because our little ones have used that space. So we have refrigerators there, we have carts there, we have boxes there. So that space is very limited in our cafeteria. In our gym, that space that we use on the stage, we have no storage space for our equipment. There's no shelves, so everything is in boxes. It's stacked upon each other. We don't have storage space for that. So having that expansion, our tile floors in our gym are popping up. So when we do have our practices for our Elevate program, our students are tripping over those tiles. Our ceiling, whatever that facade, it's coming down, it hangs. So anything that we can have for our gym space, our cafeteria space, our restrooms as well for our faculty, we have 2 in the main building. So we have just women's and one male restroom in there for the majority of our staff. In our special ed classrooms, we have converted regular classrooms into our self-contained units. There are no restrooms in there. Their students have to be escorted across the hallway. So it limits the number of staff that are in the classroom when students are having to be escorted to the restroom. So those facilities for our special needs students really need to be addressed. And so that is where, when we had those walkthroughs, that was where we were really, really needing that to be addressed.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you have like a covered patio from the main building to the cafeteria.
Yes, sir, we do.
So that's a possibility of enclosing that and expanding the cafeteria.
Yes, that would be great. And we also have an area, kind of like a section that is just space where we have like benches. We have both on the north side and the south side where the cafeteria can be expanded as well. Because right now, our students, when they have to use the restroom, we have to have somebody escort them from the cafeteria to the main building, which limits the staff for safety in the cafeteria.
Okay.
So it's a safety concern.
I'd rather have portables for storage of whatever it is that they're storing on the stage and stuff like that than have kids in portables.
Right.
Yeah, and use whatever is in the building for instruction and for the use of the kids and the staff. So.
Okay.
Roosevelt has electrical system upgrades, access control upgrade camera systems, LED lighting conversion, drainage sidewalk improvements, and HVAC controls.
I know there's a lot of drainage issues at Roosevelt, and I was there. I walked with Ms. Montgomery a couple of months ago when there was a big storm. But anything else you want to add, Ms. Montgomery, while you're here?
Yes, our biggest need really is leveling the walkway area between our main building and our gym. Our gym is in good shape. However, we cannot get to it even when it rains just a very little bit. We flood. And so we cannot walk from our main building to the gym without getting our children's shoes soaking wet. So there will be times when it rains for 2 weeks straight, our children cannot go out and access the gym. So that is a big need for us. That's probably our biggest ask, is leveling that walkway so that we can get from our main building to the gym. And our community's biggest ask is a playground upgrade. Our playground equipment is very outdated. We were scheduled for an upgrade, I believe, back in 2017, and for some reason that did not go through. A big ask from our community is a safe playground surface, preferably I don't know what it's called, but the foamy, squishy one piece, not the rocks, not the mulch, something that's really easy for our students that have mobility issues to utilize. And then my other ask is covered, the awnings are covered awnings, our walkways, they have holes in them, so when it rains also, that also doesn't do very much good, and also for shade. Those are our biggest needs.
Maybe worth noting, Ms. Montgomery, when we did the walkthrough, one of your PTO members mentioned, which I thought this was really special, that the playground is accessible to the community after hours.
It is.
Right, and that's why it's such a big ask for that part of town.
It is, and they utilize it all the time.
Yeah.
So it would be, we would love a playground upgrade. It would be very much appreciated and used by the community.
We could, since it is open to the community, maybe we can explore city or CDBG funds to help us with that.
We did apply, however, we applied this year for Roosevelt, however, it did not get approved. It was not funded. So, but we'll continue applying.
I think the flooding issues at Roosevelt has to be worked with the city, because I think it has to do more drainage from the streets because it all goes to Roosevelt, to the playground area, to the back area. I think that needs to we need to work with the city in that area, because the drainage is more of a city help assistance that we need, more so than the campus itself, because it floods the street, the neighborhood, and everything.
Did CDBG fund any of our playscape requests?
Not Playscapes, Brown was the only project that was funded.
The track.
Yes, the latest funding, we're just pending on the final award letter, was for an additional lighting and parking area over at Brown for the walking track that they funded in the past, along with the lighting. Yep.
Yes, the next list of projects is for Seguin. They do not have any portables. The cafeteria and food service expansion, emergency exit door hardware, access controls and upgrade camera systems, LED lighting, drainage improvements, HVAC controls, and HVAC mechanical renewal, water intrusion repairs. For Escandon Elementary, we have access controls and upgrade camera systems, LED lighting, HVAC controls, HVAC mechanical renewal, roof replacements, and they do have some portables. Escandon,
Yeah, they have several of them.
3 portables. They have 3 portables.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it's like some music classrooms or old music classrooms that is now used by either Head Start or hard of hearing that are hard to access.
And then next, we have a department, there was a study done on the different departments. They looked at the administration complex, and they're recommending ADA hardware and accessibility improvements, access controls and upgrade camera systems, LED lighting, HVAC controls, and parking lot and driveway reconstruction. For Crockett, they also looked at Crockett, even though we don't plan on using it in the future. They are recommending ADA door hardware replacement, LED lighting conversion, HVAC controls, and of course the roof replacement. For FMO complex, there's access controls and camera systems, LED lighting, and then the parking lot for transportation, the reconstruction of that, and the HVAC controls. For the professional learning building, ADA door hardware, access controls and camera systems, LED lighting, HVAC controls, and HV renewal of the portable buildings. For stadium and athletics, we have ADA hardware and accessibility improvements, concession, flooring and ceiling replacement, locker room wall and ceiling renewal, access controls and camera systems, LED lighting conversion, HVAC controls, and then, of course, the projects that are already underway, the track surface replacement and the turf replacement. And next, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trevino so that he can go over the summary of identified project needs.
I've touched on quite a bit of these projects already, but we'll go down the list that we currently have. We do have the additions that were recommended by the MGT report. You'll see that all of these are backed up by the MGT study that was done, and also based on our replacement schedules that we have. We have Gonzalez, the classroom addition that we're looking into, Milam classroom addition, and Morris classroom addition. We have 16 campuses that we're looking at replacing roofs. We also have the 3 comprehensive high schools, which is Mackay, Memorial, and Rowe, that would include a flooring, painting, ceiling grid, ceiling tiles, the LED lighting component, and then we're pending the walk with the current architectural firm that we have on board to be able to determine the needs of the interior areas, such as the music buildings, locker room areas, so on and so forth, administrative areas, hallways, and all of that. So that is for the high school that are listed on there. We also have the gyms and the gym enclosures that were talked about. We have Sanchez, Hendricks, and Houston that are getting 3. That would be, the proposal is for 3 of the gyms at those campuses, and we would be doing the enclosures at Perez and Castañeda. The reason for the enclosures at Perez and Castañeda is there's no available room left within the campus itself to be able to construct a new gym in that area. We're also looking at a district-wide CTE center that is still being looked into as far as the programs and the square footages and everything that would comprise of a full McAllen ISD CTE center. There's also studies and how would I put it, conversations that have taken place on the Performing Arts Center, whether to go with one centrally located Performing Arts Center for the whole district, or to do multi-purpose rooms at every high school, as that was one of the initial plans back when there was that ESSER funding that was available. That is also being looked at and being considered based on the usage, based on the programs, and based on the need at each of those comprehensive high schools. And Pfluger Architects will give us more information as we move along towards that. But that is the goal, to be able to determine and establish the correct needs at those comprehensive high schools for those programs. We're also looking at LED lights district-wide.
Ruben, excuse me, going back to the Performing Arts Center, I think the survey that MGT did was pretty much like a little bit more towards not having a centralized Performing Arts Center, but to have them at each campus.
I want to say that the survey was a little mixed.
But it was very much like a split, right?
It was a split, yeah.
But as we talk to staff and we talk to principals, I think everybody feels better usage at the campus than have it centrally located. I think that's
absolutely.
We're getting more of that feedback than having one just centrally located.
Because they won't be able to access it every day just to go and do their performances versus having these multi-purpose rooms within their own campus where they can practice and take turns with choir or mariachi or steppers or whoever it is. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important that we focus on that. I know having a beautiful new performing arts facility would be nice, but that would be the case if our everyday practice rooms were where they needed to be. Adequate, yeah. And we're definitely not where we should be, nor where do our kids deserve better.
I'll echo Trustee Delagarza's comments.
Me too.
Wholeheartedly, 100%. But I want to make sure that when we're talking about multipurpose rooms, it's not just a multipurpose room, but we're looking at all the facilities, fine arts needs, right? If we need to expand certain classrooms. I know mariachis in particular, you know, because their programs were added later, are in like these small rooms, and I don't even know how they all fit in there, but certainly something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I think when we see just a couple of bullets of, when we see McAllen Memorial and Nicky Road remodeling, we're talking about.
That's already included in there.
Yes, the remodeling of other areas, and including those fine arts and athletics and some classrooms and
Correct.
floors and everything. So the only thing we need to figure out is, and this is where Fluger can help us, is determine the dollar amount that we need to put in per high school to do just the remodeling, because it's going to be a remodeling that we want to see. We want the community, we want the parents, the students to see the difference. You know, that there was improvements made.
And to be proud of it.
Yes.
And I'd also like to just keep encouraging that Ms. Loya, she runs the department. A lot of our staff who's present today, you run. I want to make sure that you guys also have a hands-on experience and opportunities throughout this process to get your feedback in and make sure that we can really leverage that, because you guys know the community needs best. You know what each of these multi-purpose rooms can look like. So I just want to make sure that we have communication lines set up so they are able to communicate. That's happening, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I told them, what did I say this morning at the principals meeting? We need their input, the principals' input and directors' input.
Okay, good.
We're also looking at doing safety upgrades as some of the items that you see that came out in the report. Some of those safety upgrades do include the camera system upgrades at all of our elementaries. We'd like to have those camera systems on an IP-based system. We already have all middle schools and all high schools on an IP-based system. And we would also be completing the last phase of our access control to all of our entry points and exit points at our campuses. Just to touch on the elementary camera systems, and being that they're IP-based, we currently have all of middle schools or all secondaries on an IP-based. And last night, I think that you saw a budget amendment for a new video wall that's going in at our police department. So they're able to access all of our secondary schools right now on the video wall with the IP-based system. With this upgrade, we would also be able to access every single elementary at our police department as well with the video wall.
Mr. Trevino, when it was brought up earlier about the improvements to Crockett, I'm not one to think that I would put any money into Crockett, but is that for Crockett or is that for the PD?
It's got a little bit for the gym area where PD is housed at, but the rest of it would go for the buildings, but we would not be doing any upgrades there as we're working on relocating some of the departments at Crockett, yes.
Definitely.
I think we've been working to eventually empty out Crockett, because the building just needs a lot of repairs, and as we're moving on, we are going to empty it out maybe in 2 or 3 years and find our police department also another area that they can work from. And
yeah, I think that land, I mean, it's definitely the central heart of McAllen. The neighborhood around it, surrounding it, has gone through lots of changes. We have lots of new families moving into the area, buying and remodeling some of those homes. So I would really love to, talk with some of our partners about what we could do with that land, because it is it's close to our stadium, it's close to the holiday parade area. I just think that there's so much, a higher and better use for that than what we have it as. I'd rather demo the building and figure out a proper use for that land.
Exactly.
Can we also make sure the language for the McAllen Memorial Road remodel also encompasses potential additions that are needed?
Okay.
Right.
We're also looking at HVAC upgrades, chiller replacements at different campuses, the front entrances that Dr. Gutierrez was talking about earlier, and also cafeteria remodels as well for different campuses. I'd like to just mention, based on the needs that we were hearing on Ms. Garcia's report summarizing MGTs, just to give you all an example, for fire alarms, which is our biggest safety component, over the course of 10 years, we've replaced 22 fire alarms and are up to date on them. Our replacement schedule calls for the replacement of the campuses that are next in line, which is your Fields, your Hendricks, your Sanchez, your Pettis, your Fossum schools, based on the life expectancy of the systems that are in place. The roofs as well, we do have the replacement schedule. The chillers, over the course of the last 9 years, we've replaced close to 51 chillers, and we have in line the remaining 8 or 9 that are scheduled to be replaced by 2027, 2028. Those are just examples of 2 of the replacement schedules that I currently have with me. Any questions on any of the projects?
I'm going to ask probably an ignorant question, but the fire alarms, doesn't seem to me like they would, there's a lot of wear and tear there. Why do they need to be replaced every so often?
Some of these fire alarms, of course, were installed back when the schools were built or on the previous replacement that was done. We are now going to the new fire alarm systems, which are voice activated. And then our RSD campuses, we're now coming in with the lighting, special lighting for safety measures. So that is.
So it's upgrading to the newer, so it's not that they're failing.
Well, it's a complete replacement, so that we're able to offer the warranty, get the warranty on it.
I do have a question about the CTE Center. Can you talk more, give me more background on the CTE Center?
CTE Center, we're currently starting the talks. I know Mr. Science is here on some of the projects, some of the programs that are the programs that the department would like to see. But Mr. Science, do you want to elaborate on current programs or?
Can you come up? Can you come over? Yeah.
Good evening. We're looking at like 9 programs that are currently housed either at Mac High or one of the other campuses where we are busing folks. So we're trying to centralize it so that the bus schedule 1 will be better, and also those places will have adequate location. I think some of you might have walked to Mac High with us. Like our automotive section is way outdated. Our lifts are, they're barely in compliance, I would say. If you look at our health science, this is one of the points that I really like to make is health science. If you look at our health science rooms, I dare you to go there and then go to a hospital and see if it looks the same. It does not look the same. Where our competitors across in the area all have those upgrades already. And so we're trying to keep our kids here. We're trying to give them the best, but we have those rooms. So those are things that I'm trying to see that's where I want to put them. If we had the chance to get a CT center, that's where you want to house them. So all our clinicals, our pharmaceuticals, the pharmacy tech program has been here since I just got here, a year ago, but there's a waiting list. And I don't want them to be on a waiting list. I want to afford those students those opportunities. There's different programs that we want to bring on board, but we can't due to the facilities that we have. So that's where we want to look at the CT center for things like that.
How might something like this impact our relationship or our partnership with STC, A&M? What would that look like?
I mean, it would do a lot of different things if you want to chime in, but one of the big things I think is, if we look at right now, we have welding dual enrollment that we do with STC. We're capped at 15 students. If we had our own facilities, we could obviously grow it bigger, give those students that opportunity to have that dual enrollment opportunity at our location instead of having to go over there.
Are we capped because of space constraints?
Space constraints, and when they do it, they have a cap of 15 because of safety issues. They have hundreds of spaces for, they just built a brand new building for welding because of the necessity that we have in our area. The LNGs that are moving into town, the Elon Musk Center over there, all those things are asking for welding. But how can they fulfill that need if, they have to support not just us, but other school districts? And so that's where we find ourselves.
That's exactly one of the biggest reasons that we will increase our student enrollment in those programs if we are providing something in-house, because our partners, they serve other districts. So they do want to be equal or fair to everyone, and they give us just some slots. And that's why we have a waiting list in most of the programs. So one, we will increase enrollment in these programs. Two, we will offer a updated facility in most of the programs, and which Mr. Sainz says most of our other districts in the area are already at that upgraded level. And then three, we will bring new programs that we don't currently offer. So,
When do you think we can see a report on, what our needs are, what we're going to put into the CTE building or proposing to put into it, and the justification for it, and also thinking about the future, right?
Sure.
It's not just about that we need welding jobs there, but how is this facility going to support the next 20, 30 years of MISD students?
the growth.
The growth, I mean, that's really where we're at, because we already there. We can show you growth numbers right now. I mean, I sit on the Workforce Solutions Board, and I see it all the time. I hear it all the time. Like, we need more nurses, but we can't produce that many nurses. But we don't just need nurses, we need radiology techs, we need all these other personnel in health science. I have an advisory committee member that's told me multiple times that she needs dental hygienist or dental assistants. We can't provide those. SDC's seen the need. They're now building a program for that. Why can't we do it as well in tandem with them?
Would we be doing, would CT cover coding, whatever the future of AI brings?
Sure.
Because I see that.
Yeah, we have it. I mean, we have technology. We have a need for a lot of different technologies. There's a big technology company being built in Willacy County, if you haven't heard of it, but most people haven't. But how can we fulfill those needs when they come here? They're already building it.
Go ahead.
As you put that together, I'd love to also see what you would anticipate generated funding would be for students who are earning the CTE allotment. And by increasing enrollment, what we project to increase the number of students that are meeting the CCMR outcomes, and what that would generate in CCMR outcomes bonuses as well for us.
Sure.
I'd also just like to piggyback, because to be brutally honest, right now, a CTE center, after hearing many campus needs, is very low on my agenda as a trustee serving the community, staff. I mean, we have a school here who doesn't even have a playground update in the past 3 years. So I feel like I really need to be persuaded that a CTE center that could cost $40-50 million is going to be an investment for XYZ.
Sure.
My concern is our campuses, the day-to-day spaces that bring our students to school every day, and what the community sees. Because some of these standalone centers that students can go back and forth are nice. They're great. However, I wonder if maybe we get past this bond, that could be a second, something, like once we have community trust from, hey, we are responding to your needs. Go ahead.
No, sorry. One big need that we have for CTE expansion is the CCMR points that we get, and that leads our accountability. And as the state has moved to the requirements for our graduates, where before we would get points for a student that just was enrolled in a career and technical education course. Now, the requirement is that the student becomes a completer, in where they take level 1, level 2, level 3 courses in order to complete that path, the career path. So when we are limited with the number of seats that our students can get in order to complete that career path, then we are leaving money on the table for CCMR outcome bonuses, or we are not increasing our accountability level for that particular requirement. And so we know that our high schools also lead our accountability because of the number of enrollment, right? And so if our high schools are not at a healthy level with CCMR, then we will not be at a healthy level for accountability as well. So I think that is one of the things that makes a CTE, I guess, expansion of programs is our accountability, how it is set up now, and how the state has really required districts to move it that way. So I guess that's one of the ways that I can explain why the need is so great, which I agree with you. Playgrounds are needed, covered, gyms are needed, yet when we have to produce a higher and an increased level of accountability every year, when the state is requiring us to keep on producing at a level that they keep on adding more requirements, it's hard when we don't have those programs or we don't expand on those offerings.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we could also consider a capital campaign for a CT center. There's other ideas too.
Would a CTE building be included in, or is Ruben, in the Proposition 1? Or is
Yes,
that?
I think so. I think it's part of Proposition 1.
Because it's education
Right.
classrooms, right?
Right.
And so it wouldn't have to be a separate.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not like a
I did ask Mr. Leo Science to identify the programs that a new CTE building would have. I was looking more like industry-based certifications because as there's one thing that TA, the commissioner, is pushing for is more industry-based certifications for students to be career-ready. And our CTE buildings are, what, over 20 years old, 25? They're like, they don't even meet
You
code.
walked in some and you said you had classes in there, sir. So it's been a while. Yeah, one of the things I'll tell you.
Don't age me.
It's 21 years. 21 years. Honestly, it's what Dr. Doaz was saying. The changes that TA's made. If you go back, you can go back 3-4 years. As long as you were in a CTE course, and you earned a certification, no matter what certification. So an example is, I could be a pharmacy student and earn a certification in Word.
Microsoft.
I was fine. It would count for CCMR. We would, earn that accountability point. Now, we have to finish the whole program, just like you finished your college program, where you went through your first 2 years of, your basics and all that, and then you got your upper level courses. That's how it's programmed now in CTE. If you can complete and get a certification that's tied to it. So now if I'm going through a health science course that's led to pharmacy, and I earn a pharmacy certification, now it's tied, now it counts. Before, I could be a pharmacy student and get a Word document, Word certification that would count. Not anymore. Now it has to be. So it's leading us to where we're supposed to be. So we're preparing those students to go and work right away. In this case, the example I'm using is pharmacy because it's really easy to see because I see a lot of parents that have called about this, said, my student earned the pharmacy certification. Now they're at a school like, for example, Incarnate Word at the one that I got a call just recently, Incarnate Word at San Antonio. They're in the pharmacy program. They were able to get into the pharmacy program already, and they're working at the pharmacy down the street. Practicing what they're going to do, which is earning them hours, which is making their application even stronger to make sure they stay in pharmacy school.
It's just improving our workforce.
Right. And so when we look at what's the jobs that are currently available in town or in our area, a lot of them are those jobs that we're looking for with the industry-based certifications. And so that's why it's super mega important.
I agree with you, and I see great value in the CT building, but we have to make sure that if we are going to invest a significant number, that it's going to prepare our students for a successful future.
Right.
And whether it's industry-based certifications or, I think we have to look down the line and what we need to train our students in now to have a successful career, especially, and I'm going to bring up AI again, because it's really, the careers of today are not going to be the careers 10 years from now.
Correct.
And so that investment needs to endure. This building needs to be able to provide the classes, certifications, training, education, whatever you want to call it, for today and tomorrow. So that's, my focus is, if we're going to do this, let's do it right, and let's make sure that, that's why I was asking for, a justification document. What are we going to put in there? What's it going to be used for? And how are we tying that to the careers of today and tomorrow?
Yeah, we're not looking at putting, like, for example, our business classes in there, because they don't need to move to another location. Those need to be based still at their campus. Because we have plenty of that, but it's more of our specialty, like what Dr. Gutierrez was talking about. When we talk about our welding store, they need more space, bigger space, and things of that nature.
I think it'd be really exciting for some of our students, the way I know we're getting the emails about, for 8th graders going to Achieve or IB or wherever it is, but if we could do career fairs for these 8th graders to bring in those LNGs, to bring in those SpaceX, and they really see, based in our CTE facilities, the jobs that are out there and waiting for them, and us, McAllen ISD, providing them with that access to go to work day one after graduation. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for our community within the whole Rio Grande Valley, and for our students here at McAllen ISD. We just have to have the space for them. So.
Yeah, well, we have them, and Mr. Guerrero was there when we had our advisory committee member. One of the members that came, that wanted to join our committee, our advisory committee was somebody from Bechtel, which is the one that's building LNG. Those are the people that are hiring right now.
Yeah.
And so they talked about building.
She drove all the way from Brownsville just to come and make sure that her perspective could be
heard here.
For.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, how do we justify to the community, because I'm already getting feedback from people about a CTE center, that we have priority list 2, priority list 3 who are not even being met, yet here we are building a brand new building, and affording 40+ million center when existing campuses have not had their full needs met. I mean, that's some food for thought, but that is what I'm getting, and those type of optics are going to be very difficult to sell to the community when they see Mac High, when they see Morris still having certain basic needs not met, where we could reallocate some of those funds. That's my big concern, the optics of getting a brand new facility when we have a majority of our campuses still, looking like how they do.
I think that's a good point. And, it's going to behoove us to talk to our community members about whatever the final, no decisions have been made, whatever the final decisions are. But I think every investment comes with a trade-off. So if we invest in an unmet need, and I'm just going to pick on a random school, Crockett, that could mean an unmet need at Escandon continues to be unmet. We don't have unlimited funds. Sounds like $335 million. I think we all want that in our bank account, right? But when we're looking at the needs of the district, it's not a huge sum. We have so many needs,
So when do we need to have these lists totally identified? And when do trustees, what are next steps for this?
Well, we're gonna segue to the next presenter.
Sorry.
So, perfect.
Well,
I mean,
I do want to make one more point that just food for thought to my fellow trustees and the community, and to your point, Dr. Kittleman. If the community sees us investing $330 million and all they see out of it is HVACs and roofs, which are absolutely vital, they're going to be asking, what did you all do with this money? Why did you pass this bond? Why didn't I just get a tax cut instead? So I think a CTE building could be one of these projects saying, hey, we're moving to the future. But we can also think about, Mac High, our oldest high school, whether it's more than just a remodel, whether we put in a hefty sum. Sorry, not that $30 million is not hefty, but a heftier sum, to I don't know how to say it, revitalize. I think Mac High is a great school. So revitalize is the wrong word to say. But to put a lot of money into one of our campuses, our oldest high school. I feel like I'm just tripping over my words because somebody's going to get mad at me. But What I'm saying is just food for thought.
Right, right.
Another thing, if I may, about CTE
Yeah.
is that if we're not looking at a CTE center, a standalone center, maybe also looking at what we currently have, but upgrading what we
Yes.
have. And again, we had a meeting earlier, and you might want to ask the experts also on that, that sometimes when you look at the math of remodeling what you have and doing it in each individual campus, sometimes the savings is not that great when you do one standalone. So, but those are things that we do
Yeah.
need to consider.
Yeah, anybody who's remodeled knows it's a lot cheaper to build something new than to, and, you know, I'm all for saving and restoring, but it is expensive. And once you start opening walls and you
A lot of hidden
find
cost, a lot of hidden
stuff
cost.
and that you have to remediate, like, that's where the cost comes in. So, if it was 30 or whatever the amount is, you know, doing, like you said, 10 per campus versus a 35 for new, I mean, plus the amount of extra space we'd be able to have for the additional enrollment of these kids, minus the federal dollars that we'll get back for having these kids complete, I mean, we'll see where we are really.
If I can add to that too, and I'll have Ms. Friedland maybe speak on it as well. When you look at those CT classes, those are the classes that every kid wants to go to. Those are the ones that the attendance rate is the highest on, and I don't know, you can correct me, Mrs. Friedland, but to retain and recruit kiddos, that'll be one of the best ways to do that as well, by adding those programs, by adding more facilities, by adding more space. You know, kids that want to maybe be in medical terminology, they can't, only 15 can fit in. We don't have enough to get the 30 or 40 or 50 that maybe apply per year per school. So they're limited in those things, and now you're doing lottery picks to have them in, and it's like, well, I didn't get in. So I did medical terminology this year, but the following year I didn't get into clinical rotations, right? So then kids end up possibly leaving our district and campus because they can't fit in there. But I don't know, Steph, you want to bring up anything else?
Or we don't complete the program.
That's absolutely right, you know, I mean, you know, our students, I mean, they come to school for these CTE courses because this is what's gonna, I mean, this is what they see that's gonna benefit them possibly, right, in their future. You know, they go into these welding courses, and he's right, we've had kids that take one course and then the next year they can't get into the other. And so I'm having to explain, you know, the limited seating, the lottery to them, and, you know, it's a lot of explanation as to why your child, you know, can't take that course the next year. And so it's tough for them. These courses are extremely important. Again, once they leave high school, they can get employed, they're certified and ready to go, which is so important. You know, I have 4 kids myself, and, you know, one of my daughters just graduated, and she's having a tough time getting a job, and she graduated. So, you know, these certifications can also help, and, you know, she doesn't have a certification, but, you know, I think that there's a lot of opportunity for our students in these CT courses. And like Dr. De Hoyo says, you know, it is tied heavily to our accountability as well. But most importantly, it's what's good for our kids.
Thank you, Ms. Friedland.
And Mr. Sines, with this new CT center, as y'all are conceptualizing it, it would consolidate all CTE. What would we do with
Not
the
all.
CT? What would we do with the CT space at Mackay Row and Memorial?
Well,
currently?
not all CTE, so just some of the spaces that are, like at Mackay, if you take out your, let's say your automotive folks, right? We have a classroom setting, and we also have a shop. So those two would be freed up, right? What we want to do with it, that's really up to us. We could reconfigure those classrooms to make some of those other ones that are smaller in size bigger to fit better. There is certain requirements in certain classes in CTE that require a bigger space. Like they'll say 50 feet or so many feet per student. Some of them are smaller, right? So when you go into a classroom and you walk into a classroom, there's supposed to be a safe space, like a little space for every student. And that's, you know, there's different types of those. But in CTE, they range depending on the class that it is. So we would take hopefully the higher level courses to that center. That would make it the best, because the way it's set up currently, and this is why we were having issues with, you know, having these lists of kids having to sign up for a class and having to do a lottery pick, is because we don't have that room for them. And then it just kills me every time I have to tell a kid, you did all the requirements and then you can't take this final course. yes, we're still going to afford you the opportunity to take your certification because we're not going to leave you behind. But the experience that you get, like for the kids that go to clinicals, I mean, that's experience they get hands-on at the hospital. Now we have other people coming in, doctors that want to come in and support us, not only with opening up their doors to our students to go visit, but they want to give us money to support not only a CTE program, but other programs in general. And so they're seeing the value that we're bringing out, but how do we get that out there, right? So I would like, for example, I would move cosmetology over there. Why? Because it's something that we need. I'm looking to open up barbering because I always hear about students cutting hair, male students cutting hair in the restroom. Right, Ms. Freeland?
Let's get them certified.
Males cutting males cutting hair in the restroom? Yeah.
Not my son, he needs a haircut.
Is the cosmetology program, we only have it at McAllen?
We only have it at McAllen, so everybody comes in, and there's limited space.
Okay.
We're actually really good with TDLR, which they help us because our setting is not true exactly to how it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be a separate classroom, but we do have a division that makes it a separate classroom. But in reality, we should have a classroom here and the lab here. Right now, it's together.
And the same classroom for the last
same
40
classroom,
years that
divided by walls,
that I know
right?
of.
But it really should be different. But what do we do there? You know,
And
those
I
are happening because before, like I said, 3 years ago, you could take that Cosmo one,
Right.
and then decide, well, no, I'm going to move over here. What TA is really doing is really pushing us to the front and saying, yes, this is important. These classes are mega important, and saying complete the course so you can have that certification and that experience and go get that job.
Right.
Not just saying, okay, well, I learned one thing 1 year, another thing another year, and so on, and they never mastered anything. Now they're mastering their craft.
Mr. Steins, also, and just staying with McAllen, because we went to go visit, in that wing that you have CTE, but you also have some of the fine arts classes, it could be that you can free up the full wing and expand for fine arts and not have to have them in portables as
Right.
well.
See, one of the things at McAllen that I wasn't completely aware of, I was aware of it a little bit, but I didn't know that, for example, some of fine arts, and I learned this when I was doing the walkthrough, some of those fine art kids, that depending on how they want to come into to the room, they have to walk into either the CT building or into the band hall to go to the restroom. And right now, with all the security measures that we have, I mean, you better not have a bad day because you're going to have a bad day. Just having to have that problem.
So
And
those are the discussions.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear that I am in favor. I think there's a huge need for CT. I'm just curious about the timing, how it compares to other priorities in our district. That's what my hesitation is coming from. I think Ms. Friedland, you had raised your hand. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my comment on this is related to that exact point. As we get into the next part of the conversation, you know, I think there is this hesitancy around getting into the guts of the building, and 95% of our community will never see that, right? And that's where maybe some of the hesitation is. I think there's an opportunity for us, knowing that on the front end, to really be mindful of how we are presenting the needs in our schools. I mean, I would invite anybody that writes a check to the tax authority to go see the HVAC rooms in some of our schools and decide to vote against something of this nature. I believe our community sees the need and will operate from their heart for our kids, but it's incumbent upon us to make the invisible visible.
Thank you, Leo. And more discussions will take place, a lot more, and before we finalize the list. So now, go ahead, Lorena, would you introduce our
Yes,
next?
now we have next Dr. Robbie McGowan from Pfluger, and he will present on the pre-bond applying process and the next steps as well as the timeline.
Sorry, we talk a lot.
Oh, no, I am grateful to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Good evening, Dr. Gutierrez and members of the board. As Ms. Garcia said, my name is Robbie McGowan, and I am with Pfluger Architects. Dr. Gutierrez asked me to tell you a little bit about our firm as we get started, and then we'll talk a little bit about the process. I guess the first thing I ought to say is I am with Pfluger Architects, but I'm not an architect. I actually have an education background, former superintendent and high school principal, and have worked with bond programs in school districts before. My role at Pfluger is in the area of communications and community engagement. And but we do have a very talented team. In fact, we had a meeting today. I'll talk a little bit about that in more detail. But in that meeting today, we had 4 architects and planners that were involved, as well as 2 of us who are on the community engagement side of the house. Pfluger's been around for 50 years. We're a school architect firm, and we do work across the state of Texas, and we're excited about this opportunity to work alongside you as you're planning for a potential bond program. We're fortunate and grateful. We have a great track record of working with districts and passing bonds, where over the past 25 years, we're at about a 98% passage rate in districts that we're working alongside. We've seen a lot in terms of size of bonds. We worked with Midland about a year and a half ago on a $1.4 billion, one of the largest bonds in the state. Part of the reason it was so large, it had been a long time since they had passed a bond, and actually have a couple of high schools that we're working on them for that are in the $420 million range. I mean, so we're, some large, but we also have worked with some small districts across the state. And what it's about is making sure that we are focused on what the needs are of the kiddos and the educators in your district. We say often, and it's not just a trite statement, but that it's instruction that drives construction. And so we're working alongside your team in that regard. So we will provide support, a little bit about what we're doing, and then I want to talk about the next steps in the process. So we're providing support in the areas of bond programming and analysis. A lot of the questions you've been asking tonight, we're actually already working with your district leadership teams on. And I'll go in a little bit of detail about what that includes. We'll also provide support in community engagement. Again, this district, as we've come alongside, I want to commend you. I want to commend the board and Dr. Gutierrez and his team about how transparent this process has been, how you've had the community alongside every step of the way. I've had the opportunity. I was at the town hall meeting a couple of weeks ago when MGT gave their report. I had the opportunity to view the previous FFAC meetings, and so I just want to commend you on that commitment to having that transparency and that inclusivity. And then we'll also be assisting with communication strategies. So just a little bit about, what does that look like? So when it comes to programming, we are working with your team, with all of the leadership in your district to try to define what does programming mean? Because when we look at phrases like remodeling, right, when we're going to remodel something, or something as specific as we want to enhance, we need to enhance our performing arts facilities or CTE facilities. What does that specifically look like? Number one, it's important because we are going to work with you to make sure that you have the most accurate cost estimates that you need before you call for a bond. But most importantly, again, it's making sure that what is being planned meets the current and future needs of your instructional mission in the district. So we're doing that, establishing cost estimates, and then working with the district and helping you determine what that prioritization is. I heard a lot of conversations around the dais tonight about it is about prioritization. It's I've heard the phrase before that you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything you want. And so how do we prioritize to make sure that we can best use our limited resources to meet the needs of the district? In terms of community engagement, We will join, you've already started along that journey. We'll join alongside the district in working with your community both before and after a bond election is called. Working with the FFAC. I know there'll be a future meeting of the FFAC that we will be helping to facilitate. Some of those questions that you had around the dais tonight, like Dr. Kittleman, you were asking questions regarding, you know, this need for, is the need for a standalone CTE center, or is it more something along the lines of something we can do at each campus? Those kind of questions. The conversations that you had, Ms. De La Garza, I remember you talking about, you know, what are our needs? You know, we really think we probably have more needs instructionally on our campuses for performing arts as opposed to a standalone center. Those kind of things, those are the directions that we work with your FFAC, your community members to make sure we're all on the same page. Are they seeing that and agreeing with that? Because ultimately, they're an advisory group that will report to you, and you as a board are the ones that have to call for the bond. And so we want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to make that very important decision. We'll also then, during the election, be able to analyze and provide. We are very data-driven when it comes to elections, and we will be analyzing voter data and making sure that we can educate folks as best as possible. I'll then kind of the last part of that is in communications. We will work with the district and working with the marketing department and making sure that your message is clearly and very transparently shared. I love the conversation again around the dais tonight. I think Trustee Carrion, you were the one that mentioned about if people could just see inside the buildings, right? And so we can assist you with that. Even if they're not physically inside the buildings, how can we educate the community? Your council made a great point tonight, is that it's about educating. We are, once an election is called, there are very specific legal requirements of what you have of the communication of the district. And we have lots of experience in doing that. And again, we'll work right alongside your marketing, your legal counsel to make sure that everything is clearly and very appropriately communicated in that area. And then so we're having those conversations already, even before a bond is called, because we want to make sure that we're learning a lot about your community, and we want to make sure that we're communicating this in a way that McAllen ISD parents, taxpayers, educators understand and are used to. We do not have a cookie cutter plan for communicating. I will tell you, it's public information, so I'll share with you. We're working with one of your neighbor districts currently right now as well. And so what we're doing and designing and planning in Sharyland may look very different than what we're doing in McAllen, because it will be tailored to what your community is used to. So let me tell you a little bit about next steps and what that looks like. And I think sometimes that's best portrayed in a timeline. So you started this journey long before. In fact, you started this journey way before May the 7th. That's just, I only have so much space on this slide. So I started with your first FFAC meeting. But you've been bringing the community along. You've been gathering all this information, the report from MGT. That's all great data to help guide these conversations. So where we are today, so if you look about in the middle of that, we have begun to meet with your staff. I'll show you an agenda of the time we spent this afternoon in just a second, but want to finish with this timeline. We will reconvene the FFAC to again kind of bring them up to speed and get some feedback from them so that we can make a recommendation from you. That recommendation to the board will either happen at your December or your January board meeting. And then, as Dr. Gutierrez said earlier tonight, you are required, if you want to have an election in May, you're required to call that election no later than February the 13th. So that would take action from your board. We would work with your district leadership, and your bond council that we heard from tonight to make sure that that is all done. All the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. The conversations about propositions and those kind of things will be ready for you to take action on in February, but we'll be having presentations to you earlier than that. And then you can see the voting. There's early voting, or the last day to register to vote is April the 2nd, and then early voting for the May 2nd election date, which is the first Saturday in May, would be April the 20th through April the 28th. So let me mention, and then I'll open it up for questions. So today, one thing we didn't, and this is, and I apologize for this slide. This is just an example to show you. It may be a little bit too small for you to read, but I wanted to let you know the work we're already doing. And let me start by saying, and again, I believe, Dr. Kittleman, you were the one that made this comment earlier that is so important, is who's around the table as we're having these conversations. I want to commend Dr. Gutierrez and his team. We had a meeting today to begin this defining of the program or refining of the program. And that room, there was wide representation around that table. Your instructional leadership, your district level leadership, we had fine arts and CTE and athletics and elementary, secondary. I mean, all facets of the district around the table as we're having this conversation. A great example today, I loved hearing the question. I think Trustee Haddad, you had a conversation about a CTE center. As we're looking at CTE centers, are we not just looking at today, but looking at what we'll need tomorrow, right? And that was a conversation we had today, was as we're programming for CTE space, how are we programming in a way that we could pivot as industry may pivot as well? So those are the kind of conversations we're having with your team. What that helps us to do, again, I'll harp on this, you'll hear me say this lots of times, but it helps us to do two very important things. It helps us to make sure we're providing you the most accurate data we can provide you in terms of scope and cost estimates, but most importantly, it makes sure that we are staying lockstep with your instructional mission in the district. That is, at the end of the day, that is our number one mission, to work alongside you, is to make sure we are staying lockstep with your instructional vision for the district. So we had this meeting today. We had conversations about lots of different types of projects, making sure that we have the data we need to advise the district along the way. So lots of information. I know we're at the end of a long meeting for you, but I am here to answer any questions you may have.
Well,
did I go so long you forgot the question? Sorry about that.
I think what I've been saying all along, I mentioned it to the leadership team this morning when we met with all the principals and directors and everyone, and I've said it, it's along the way, is that at some point we need to finalize the projects with schematics, with costs, to package this all together. Where are the projects going to be, what projects are going to be done, and the design, schematics, and costs, so that we could bundle this up and start putting it together for the board, the facilities committee to get their input and finalize that. That is the next big step that we have ahead of us.
And we've already begun some work on that to provide, because that's part of both the recommendation that will come to you as a board, and then once the board makes a decision, it's also a part of the story that will be able to portray and to educate the district in terms of because some of these things sound so abstract. What is a multi-purpose performing arts room? What does that mean? For Memorial and Mackay and for Nicky Rowe. I mean, what does that mean? Or what does a CTE center mean? And so a picture does certainly tell 1,000 words. So we'll work with you in that regard as well.
I had one question for you.
Sure.
As you, I'm sure, are aware, some of our local communities failed to pass the bonds, Brownsville, FAR, or PSJ,
Right.
and Rio Grande City. What insights do you have?
What I will say is that I think the way McAllen has embarked on this journey with having the community being so transparent and having the community along from the get-go and not coming up with a plan and then saying, okay, community, we've got this plan, we just basically want you to approve what we've come up with. I think that having that community engagement early on helps. And then I think also at the end of the day, so many voters are motivated to come to the polls because of as much about how they feel about the district as about what this specific project and this specific project and this specific project is too. So how are you as a district engaging the community in all of the good things that are going on, and that this bond is something that is going to align with that? It's not just some standalone thing that we're just coming to you once every 5 or 10 years and asking you for millions of dollars, that you've been with us every step of the way. That's what we didn't work with those districts, and so I can't go into details about what their approach was, but I do know that what makes me feel very confident about this bond is I think you're doing it right when it comes to community engagement.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, you'll be seeing lots of us, and like I said, we are here to serve you and be a part of the team. So I just want to say I'm a former superintendent and also did school board training for lots of years, and I never want to pass up an opportunity to share a word of gratitude with the trustees. So thank you for your service. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item 4, right?
Yes.
Adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Haddad, second by trustee De La Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you,
4-0.
everybody, tonight.
And thank
I
you.
know, it's a
Thank
late
you.
night.
I know
Thank
it's
you.
late.
2 nights